I believe there's no such thing as a money problem. Nobody really has a money problem. What people really have is an idea problem. Because that's really what prosperity is about, and that's the topic I'd like to share with you today. I want to talk about the creativity law of prosperity and how you apply it to manifest wealth, abundance, health, happiness, all those things of prosperity in your life. Interesting story. I was having dinner at one of my favorite restaurants here in Miami, up in North Beach, a place called OG Cafe. I was talking to my friend Eloy, who owns the place, and he was telling me about a guy he was reading about that day that was going around and he was buying these foreclosed houses, which of course, you know, people have been doing that for some time now, particularly the last couple of years. But it was a really interesting scenario because he was buying houses from banks and selling them back to the people who live there. So and then they had this in the paper. They had some examples. There was a house that was, I think the bank was owed $400,000. So they foreclosed. They were going to throw this guy and his family out on the street, the person in the house, the owner. So this investor went and bought the house from the bank for $70,000 or $80,000, because that's what they sold it for, $70,000 or $80,000, distress sale. And then he went to the owner, who was still in the house, and said, "Would you like to buy the house back from me for $120,000?" And of course, the owner jumped at the opportunity, bought it back for $120,000. They took the note on it, much lower payments. He could afford that. He made it work. And so the guy, the investor, made $50,000 was the amount on this one. And he's doing this about 2-3 times a week. That's an idea. That's using creativity to manifest prosperity. And this is the interesting thing. In any economic downturn, depression, recession, there's always people creating wealth. Because one of the things I think is important for creating prosperity is to be a contrarian. If everybody's zigging, you need to be zagging. If you're following the herd, remember, most of the herd is broke, sick, depressed. They have pretty miserable lives. People who want to manifest prosperity, you got to break away from the herd. You got to be a critical thinker. You got to be a contrarian. So this is where the power of ideas come in. And this is what the creativity law of prosperity is about. It's using ideas. I'll give you another story. Way back, this is probably almost 20 years ago, my business was really struggling. We owed a lot of money, and I had a lot of employees, so I had all these hungry mouths to feed, and every Monday I'd have a meeting with my vice president. Her name was Sherry, and Sherry would come in and we'd have the money meeting. And she'd talk about, she'd bring in this big accordion, brown accordion file that of course comes from Office Depot or one of those places, and it said bills on it in big letters. And so we'd have this meeting every Monday. It was like the come to Jesus meeting, you know. We'd have this meeting and she'd say, okay, we got this much in the bank. We owe the printer this month much. We owe the CD duplication guide this much. We owe this hotel this much. The airlines this much. How much do you want to pay this? How much do you want to pay that? We got payroll coming up. That'll be this. Every Monday. It was like, oh, the most arduous thing. So I was reading the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity book by Catherine Ponder, great book if you haven't read it, and she kind of talked a little bit about bills and how we position them and the energy we apply to them. So I remember calling up Sherry and said, listen, I want you to go to the office supply store. I want you to buy a new accordion file. Find a white one if you can, because white is about purity in a lot of things, right? Spiritual sense, many people believe that. Get this white one and let's title it Blessings. And because I'm going to adopt this new mindset that bills are simply invoices for blessings we've already received. And I want you to work with me and adopt the same mindset. We got to reposition ourselves. We got to rethink this. We got to start sending this different kind of energy. And Sherry's a very spiritual person. She loved the idea, jumped at it. We repositioned it, blessings, and it was funny. Probably within 60 days, we had all the bills paid off and got into a positive cash flow. And stayed into a positive cash flow ever since, and I've just made more and more money every year of my life. I think it was that kind of thing about repositioning it, using the creativity law. One of the things Catherine talks about in her book is writing a letter to somebody's angel. Say you're having a real argument with someone. Maybe they're suing you or you're suing them, or legal proceedings. It's a nasty thing. She suggests you write a letter to the angel of that person. And you might say, you know, I've had some disagreements with Jimmy, and I'm just affirming that I'd like those disagreements to end. I see us coming together in agreement, and I wish only positive outcomes for Jimmy and the highest good for all concerned. You write a letter like that, right? You don't even have to give it to them. You just write it to their angel. Seal it up, keep it, put it in your Bible, your Quran, your whatever, put it on the mantle, keep it in your desk, throw it away. I don't think it matters. Now here's the fascinating thing. I was just talking about this on my blog a couple of days ago. People say, well, do you really believe that that person has an angel, and when you write that letter, it goes to the angel? Well, you know what? If I'm honest, I don't. Yet I've written many letters to people's angels. Why? Because ancient Vedic sages used to talk about the space between thoughts. Joseph Campbell talks about the collective unconsciousness. What we know is at its ultimate level, all things are energy. And even if we go further ultimate level, the ultimate is energy vibrations, sound vibrations. And energy attracts or repels. And I think when you send thoughts out there and you create positive energy, whether it goes to the space between thoughts, the astral plane with Baba G, with the Campbell calls the collective unconscious, it doesn't matter to me what labels you use. I don't know what label is this or that. I just know that I really do know that all things are energy, and energy attracts or repels. And when I've done this kind of thing, I've been very successful with it. It was the same thing when I was behind on my bills at home years and years ago. I wrote, every time a bill came in, I took out and got the envelope and I wrote, you are immediately and completely repaid through divine order. So, and by the way, I will, if you're watching this on YouTube, please get up that, I think it's, where, this side, that side, the little yellow box says subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. And then if you're seeing it on my blog, or you're not seeing it on the blog, go to randygage.com and subscribe to the blog. And if you look at where this video is, I'm going to put some of these affirmations down below on there. But I would tell you this, when we really sum up the creativity law of prosperity, I believe it's this: you can manifest prosperity from the ethers by the power of ideas, vision, and imagination. Thank you.